Oh, we're back with Barber Sports Talk, and we have a very special guest with us, Sean Maroney. How are you doing, Sean?
I am doing swell.
I know when I saw Sean just I was coming, I was about to do the show, and I'm like, let's have Sean, because if any of you have not realized, if none of you have met Sean, Sean is an interesting guy to talk to. A really interesting guy to talk to. Sean has a lot of stories, so we're going to get a couple of these stories. And most of these stories have nothing to do with sports. But I do want these stories because Sean is an hilarious dude. Now, Sean, I just want to tell you, to tell everybody out there, what were you doing 2 weeks ago before you went to college this year?
Well, just to start, he's building me up here. I'm really not a very interesting person, but I will give you some of my insights. Now,
Okay.
2 weeks before college, let's see, I was waking up at 3 in the morning to work an 8-hour shift, getting paid 15 cents an hour, 32 cents an hour, pardon me, in a jail cell in Chicago. That's what I was doing.
And why were you in that jail cell?
We all make mistakes in life, and we all try to learn from those mistakes. And the mistake that I happened to make was I got a DUI. I got a DUI in Chicago.
Now, the part that's really interesting to me about this, and the part that's crazy about this is, so you're in jail for like 3 months, right?
Yes.
And then you come back, and then 2 weeks later, you're going to school.
2 weeks? Try 2 days.
Okay, 2 days. So 2 days after you get out, you've been in jail for 3 months, you going to school. Now, to me, I can never do that, because I'd be like, how the hell are you going to tell me that I have to go do an assignment? I've been in jail for 3 months.
Right.
Kyle, could you do that? Bryce, could you do that?
Not a chance.
Dude, that's impressive. That's impressive. To be in jail for 3 months, and then you come back and like, oh, well, guess I have to go to college now. Like, that is impressive, and I really do respect that. That's crazy. I don't know how you found a way to do that. Was it like weird? Like, are you like, do I really want to go back to school? Was that a thought?
Well, after getting out of jail, being around the sunlight and being around other people in a non-brick wall setting is a blessing. I was ready to do absolutely pretty much anything. So going to school was just, wow, let's do it. It's all about adjusting. When I got there, I had to adjust to the culture, to the environment. And then getting out, it was a readjustment into this kind of a life. And it's two completely different ends of the spectrum, but it really builds character because you are then able to adjust to other situations in life because of this.
Now, what I do want you to tell me now is, because your story is really interesting, just describe, what is it like being in jail? What is it like being in jail? And when you're like that, how does that feel when you're in that boxed up space?
Well, the feeling is, it's hard to describe. It's not a good one. It's really like a humbling, eye-opening experience. Humbling and eye-opening. You feel like you're like, wow, it's real. You hear all these rappers talking about I was in jail for this, prison for that. It's like, and then when you're actually there, it's like, whoa, this is legit. This is really negative.
Now, if you feel comfortable, if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to say this. What's the craziest thing you've seen in jail?
The craziest thing I saw in jail? I mean, I broke up a couple of fights.
And why were people fighting?
Why were people fighting? People were fighting because they thought their way was correct. And what I mean by that is, each time a fight would break out, it would be because people were not able to find the middle ground and make a compromise. They were too stubborn almost in standing their own ground and not being able to see the other person's perspective. And then they would fight about it. That was a way of who's going to win.
Nobody messed with you, right?
No, well, you see, when people mess with you, you had to lay a line down. Yeah. Like, if you're gonna come at me, this is what I'm gonna come at you with. And the thing that I believe in is fighting is hatred, right? Yeah. Fighting is the hatred out of each. Okay. And when you fight hate with hate, it's just who has more hate is gonna win. But when you fight hate with love, you're always gonna win because you can't top that. You can't. So when anybody would ever come to me with something, I would respect them for that, tell them thank you, and then they would never be able to do anything to me because one, I accepted what they came at me with, responded in like a logical manner, and then I was pretty good friends with every single person that I crossed paths with because I could either relate or...
So they were like, Sean's cool. Let's not mess with Sean. They were like, Sean's cool.
Pretty much.
They were like, Sean is cool. Okay,
Pretty much.
that's good.
Because that's what my mindset towards it, towards it. You know, it's like, I'm not gonna... Because I don't know you, I'm not gonna...
Yeah.
Freaking make a judgment off of something, you know, I'm just here now, you know, what are you gonna come at me with? I don't know, you don't know me, you can't tell me nothing really.
Okay. Now, some of the people you were in prison with, some of the friends you made, what were the type of stuff? Were you in there with like people that people and stuff like that?
Funny story. Yeah.
And like, okay.
I mean, it was in Chicago with lots of...
murders and rapists and...
Not rapists. I did not run into a rapist.
Okay.
Lots of gang related, like, gang bangers. Just
okay.
The whole new culture. Like, I was never like... I grew up in Charlotte, Ohio. I'm not familiar with the gangbanger lifestyle, but I'm seeing real gangbangers in there. I mean, teardrops on the eye, but like not just I got a teardrop on my eye to be cool. Like no, these people have killed people and will tell you about it.
Okay.
Like, but the thing is, they're some of the nicest people. Like when I talked to a few of them, two of them actually that stood out, and they were both really down to earth, and they might be kind of psychotic. You know.
Okay.
But yeah, that's.
They're just good. They're.
I can't say good people.
Not good people. That's not a good word to use because they kill people. But like
good people that have done bad things.
Yeah. Okay. That is a good way to say that. That's a good way to say that.
I mean, they're calling murderers good people that have done bad things, but you know, I mean, they're nice. They're not like, they're not gonna come at you with judgments because they know that they've done some bad things. So they're more open and accepting of.
Did anybody try to ever get you in a gang? Because that's kind of isn't that the thing sometimes?
No, I was not. No, you're wrong. Actually, the second day I got there, the one dude was like, "Yo, you want to be in this?" They had like a clique in like the one corner of the pod I was in.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Nah, dude, I'm good."
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good.
He didn't say gang, but you're like, that doesn't sound.
Yeah, he didn't say gang. He was I don't remember the term he described to call themselves, but. Yeah, gang would be.
You were like, no.
Yeah, I'm like, no. I respect the offer, but I'm doing this right now. So thanks, though.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
So.
And how was the food? The food was bad.
The food was not actually food. It was chemicals that are called.
So it makes you appreciate cafeteria food here.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. I hear people all the time complaining about the cafeteria, and I'm just internally laughing. Because the food that I worked in the kitchen for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
And the labels on the food in the kitchen actually said, do not feed to other human beings except for the inmates. The food is made for the inmates. It's literally livestock food.
Oh.
It's.
That's not.
And here I am eating some chicken and burgers in the cafe. Like, wow, this is real. This isn't chemically processed and. Yeah, wow.
So when people talk about the calf, you're like, damn, man. He's like, you have no idea what like eating like not real food actually is.
Yeah, it's an awakening.
Now, how are you treated in prison by the prison guards?
Now that depends on how you treat the guards.
Okay.
If you come up to the guards and are like, this spitting nonsense, calling them X, Y, and Z, insult them left and right, like some do, when you run out of a soap bar or a towel and they're like, hey, officer, can you give this for me? They're going to give you the finger, slam the door in your face and laugh at you as they walk out of the cell. You know, but if you don't bother the guard, don't be
a jerk.
Yeah, don't be a jerk to them, then they'll probably help you out. So for me, personal experience, I forgot to turn in my towels 1 week. So you get like 2 towels a week, basically, those little rags.
Yeah.
And you need to turn those in every week, or you need to. I forgot.
Okay.
And the one guard, is respect. Like, hey, how you doing today?
Yeah.
Kind of a thing, usually every day. And I ran out of towels, and he got me some new towels. But other people that are jerks to him, they won't even think about it. So it all depends on.
And they could probably tell you're a good kid anyway.
Well, I'm not really. I wouldn't say I'm a good kid, but respect. So it's just,
you were respectful, more respectful than other inmates were. You weren't.
Yeah, it's because it's their job. You know, like they're at their job. You know, it's not their fault that is their job. They follow their orders.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like they can do anything about that. We have a problem with who makes the laws again.
Yeah.
Oh,
now is there like a warden?
There was a sergeant. I never ran into a warden, but there
Okay.
are sergeants.
Is there like the hole? Like they put the hole in for being?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, dude. Actually, the first night I was there, I got sent to the hole.
Why?
It's just funny though, because it was a blessing to go to the hole.
Okay.
Because when you first get there, you go to holding, and the holding is the big box with like 13 people sleeping on concrete benches.
Yeah.
So I got to go to the hole, which is where a bed was, which is like an in between place just to put me for a night.
Okay.
So no, I didn't actually have to go to the hole as a punishment.
Okay.
But no, that place sucks, dude. No windows, and which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're in a couple feet by couple feet rectangle with no window, the window is a huge part. And when they take the window away from you and like freedom to walk around.
Yeah. How did you spend time?
Spend time. Well, like I said, I worked from 3 in the morning to 11, 6 days a week, and then the 7th day I usually had to go to work anyways. But other than that, I would read, I'd play cards, and I would read, play cards, and that's about it. Talk on the phone. The TV was working, get some TV going.
Okay.
But yeah, that's about it.
Now, so that whole prison experience was just, how has that changed you?
How has it changed me? Well, it was the worst time of my life.
Okay.
Because I don't want to say I felt abandoned from God, but I kind of did at the same time. And then it was also the best part of my life because it brought me closer to God. So, what was the question?
How's it changed?
Oh, how's it changed me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's changed me from a spiritual standpoint.
Okay.
And well, number one. And number two, it has changed me from it's like a lens, you know. People that need glasses, they can't see the world without they can't see the world clearly without glasses.
Yeah.
It just gives me a new lens,
Okay.
so to speak, and how I view the world.
And now I want to ask, because you talk about a lot of your faith and stuff, like how that's kind of like changed you. You got the cross on. You told me you like got like baptized or ordained
Yes,
or
I
whatever.
did.
Yeah, like a week ago.
I
You said
did.
you go to church like every day, something like that.
Yeah, I said walk in the church every day at least, just praise my God and Jesus because they are the reason I got through my my jail time.
Okay.
I believe that, truly believe that. And yeah, it's just such a great thing to be reconnected with
Okay, now I want to ask you 2 sports questions because we are a sports show. My first one is you played against Kareem Hunt in high school. What was that like?
Oh, dude, Kareem Hunt was a man amongst boys in high school.
How big was he?
Giant.
Okay.
I would no. I would not. Well, I was really small. So to me, seeing Kareem Hunt run at you, it's like a train coming at you. It's like.
Did you tackle him?
No, I didn't tackle him.
Okay.
Never tackled him, but on the same field, like playing against him.
Was he just running away from everybody and just biking people?
Dude, his juke move, his stiff arm is like it's like you're running into a brick wall. I mean, it's like freak of nature. Freak of nature to play against Kareem Hunt. Yeah. Only played against him once.
When you played against, you were like, "Damn, that kid's gonna play in the NFL someday." Was that what you were like?
No, yeah. When you saw him on the field, you could tell that he was special. Like you could tell that there was something about him that made it was the way he it's just the way he moved. It was just it's like he wasn't even really trying, and he was
Still smoking.
So he just annihilated our team.
All right.
Complete annihilation. It wasn't even a close.
Okay.
Our team, bottled them up for the first half.
Yeah.
After the second half, just touchdown. It's like.
Well, does it make you feel better now that you see him and he's like one of the best running backs in the NFL? And you're like, okay, it wasn't some random kid that did that to us. It makes you feel a little bit better, like
a lot better,
Okay.
A lot better.
That would make me feel better too. And my last question before I let you go, because I know you got to go. When I say Draymond Green, what do you think?
First word to Draymond Green. Yeah, it's
A lot of Clevelanders don't like Draymond.
attitude, negative attitude.
Okay.
I don't like the way he carries himself. If you want to play basketball with some kind of swag, that's great. Do what you do, but I don't like to see other players just being jerk offs to other players, like kicking people.
Are you saying Draymond's a bit of a jerk?
Yeah,
he's a bit of an a-hole.
He's a bit of an a-hole. I don't know what I can and can't say on this thing, but
no, let's not say it. But a-hole,
yeah.
a-hole's a good word to say.
Yeah.
Let's just say he's an a-hole.
I think he's an a-hole.
Okay, I think Bryce would agree. You agree with that, Bryce?
Yeah.
I know Kyle agreed.
He's not a pleasant human being.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it for Barbershop Sports Talk. We had Sean on. Really appreciate you coming on, Sean.
Pleasure being on. Thank you.
That was great. I'm gonna have to get this in on the podcast side, dude. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, we're back with Barbershop Sports Talk. We have resident MMA analyst, a friend, teammate Bryce Carmichael with us today to talk about the Conor McGregor, Khabib Nurmagomedov fight. Nurmagomedov fight. So Bryce, just tell me, who do you have winning the fight and why?
Dude, I'll be honest, I have no idea who's gonna win. For a long time, I was on the Conor hype train back when he was, back when he first beat Aldo and got the championship. I thought he was invincible. And then he goes up and fights Nate Diaz, gets mauled on the ground. Then he comes back, and I was on the Conor hype train. And then I saw Khabib just mauling people, and I thought this guy's invincible. And then people just talking back and forth, and I honestly have no idea.
Now, Khabib wrestles just like how Nate Diaz wrestled and win, and that could be a problem for Conor. How do you think that's going to play out?
Khabib he doesn't wrestle like Diaz. He wrestles 10 times better than Diaz. Khabib has been wrestling, that whole region, Dagestan in Russia, that whole area is just flooded with wrestlers. That's all they do in Dagestan is wrestle. And Khabib is just an animal at it. He's done sambo, which is like sort of a combination of like jiu-jitsu and wrestling. They wear the gi tops and they wear a belt, and you can flip a guy, you can break his arm, break his leg, choke him out, do whatever you want basically. And Khabib is just an expert in it.
Now, when I was looking at Khabib, the first thing I thought was, this man is thick, man. He is a thick man. And Conor's doesn't look small, but Conor's taller. Conor's a little skinny.
Mm-hmm.
Like
he's got those long arms.
Yeah, you can tell the body. But you look at Khabib, looks like he'll eat a couple of punches in your face and be like, "Is that all?" Like he looks like that type of dude.
Dude is a scary man.
Like so, when Conor is talking like that in the press conference, I'm like, Conor, this is not Floyd Mayweather. This ain't Nate Diaz. This might not be the type of man you want to be talking to before you get into that octagon and they close that cage. What are your thoughts on that?
Hey man, Conor's doing it the same way he's always done it. He is known for his trash talk, his mind games. That's how he beat Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo hadn't lost for like 10 years before he fought Conor. Conor talked so much smack to him before the fight. He was grabbing his belt, he was taking his posters, ripping them in front of his fans. Before the fight, he actually got in Jose Aldo's face, and in Portuguese, which is his native language, he said, there's a chant that the Brazilian MMA fans do, it's chanting, "You are going to die," in Portuguese. He got in his face, he stared him right in his eyes, and he said, "You are going to die," in Portuguese. And he got him so riled up, he was able to take advantage of it.
How much can that do in a fight? When you psych someone out so much, you get them so mad that gets them out of their own game, and instead of them trying to tactically fight you, they're just coming in.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage. Instead of thinking and fighting smart, they're just swinging at you with everything they've got.
Because it's not just a fight; it's a fight with rules.
Yeah, definitely. But the rules aren't so much a thing. It's like chess. It's like human chess. You can't just go in there swinging with people. You gotta anticipate their movements. You gotta know what they're gonna do before they do it. And if you're just swinging, you're not thinking at all.
Now, to get back to the scratch talk with Conor, I'm looking at Conor. Conor was he sipping whiskey or vodka? What was it?
Yeah, he started his own whiskey company.
Okay.
Which this is one of the things. You ask me who I think is gonna win. I have no idea. Who I want to win? I want Khabib to absolutely murder McGregor. Because McGregor has gotten it too good for too long, and I want to see this guy get the smackdown laid on him.
Conor's disrespectful.
He is disrespectful.
He is disrespectful.
I want to see him lose strictly because Dana White, president of the UFC, loves it. Dana White gives it's basically his son, this guy. Back to the whiskey thing. He started this. So Reebok got a contract with the UFC, right? And before the contract, the fighters could have their sponsors, they could put them on their shorts, on their shirts, whatever. They were allowed to show their sponsors. Then Reebok comes in, says we're going to supply all the fighting gear. That's why all the fighters have the same trunks and the same shirts now. And then he said you can't show your sponsors anymore. It's just Reebok, which kind of got on the fighters a little bit because these people have been sponsoring them since they were amateurs, and now they can't show them on their trunks anymore. They can't rep their sponsors. And then Conor comes in with the bottle of his whiskey sitting on his desk, and he's drinking it in the press conference, showing it off to everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody else would get away with that,
Yeah.
except Conor McGregor. Dana White he's so soft.
Nobody else in any other sport would get away with doing something like
No,
that. Not in
no.
football, basketball, baseball.
No.
The guy is like the only person in sports that can do that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
He's drinking whiskey, which I believe that's not even appropriate to do anyway, because aren't there like kids watching? That's supposed to be kind of a thing too. You're not supposed to. And isn't that bad for advertisements? I don't know.
I mean,
that's not a good look when you have one of your stars do that. That's not a good look.
No, I mean,
And it's disrespectful to Khabib. It's just disrespectful.
it is very disrespectful. Which, I mean, I guess that's Conor's game plan, but still, it's just.
If I was Khabib, though, I think that dude thinks he can just drink some whiskey. Like, Khabib is going to try to hurt this man.
Oh yeah.
He's going to try to hurt him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing I want to mention with Conor. Now, something Dana White mentioned after the McGregor-Mayweather fight, Conor didn't fight for an extended period of time. And what Dana White said was, it's hard to get up every day, get up and train, and get punched in the face when you know you have $100 million. Because he came from a poor background in Dublin, Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get up every day and get punched in the face.
Yeah.
When you have $100 million in the bank. So when it comes to how has Conor been training? What type of shape is he in? Because usually fighters, they have a tune-up fight. He's going right back into the jungle against Khabib. That's crazy.
Yeah, I really don't know what kind of shape he's in. That's been one of McGregor's criticisms is that he gasses out in his later rounds. I mean, you can look at the Mayweather fight for that. You can also look at the first Diaz fight and sort of the second. He does sort of gas out in the later rounds, which has caused him a lot of problems. And I think if Khabib can take him down and get him tired, that's what I think he's going to do. I think Khabib is really going to push the pace and take advantage of that. However, on the flip side of it, he hasn't been training MMA in a long time, but he's been training boxing. He's really, really refined his hands, which his hands were already deadly. His left hand will put you out. And I think that's even more so. Yeah.
Can he knock out Khabib?
Absolutely. I think.
Does he have if this goes to decision, I think Khabib wins.
Yeah.
The Conor has to knock him out to win.
I don't think he has to knock him out, but he would have to do a very, very good job of takedown defense and staying off his back if he wants to win by a decision. I think his best chance is a knockout in the early rounds, but I'm not ruling out a possibility of a 5-round battle that goes either way.
Just a punishment. Now coming up next, and I want to answer some other questions. Coming up next, let's say after this fight, where's Conor's next fight? Is there potential for him and Floyd to fight again?
I think that's a good chance. I think everybody was very surprised by Conor's first performance. I know I certainly was. I thought he was going to get stomped, but he actually put up a very respectable fight against the greatest boxer, arguably the greatest boxer ever. And I think I would watch it again.
I haven't seen Floyd get headed that many times.
No, I would definitely watch another. I would watch a rematch.
Now, what's the potential of a trilogy with Nate Diaz?
I would love to see the trilogy because it was two just brawls before, and I would love to see that one more time. And the first round, the first fight, I should say, was just close, and then I believe Diaz caught him with an uppercut. McGregor goes for a shot, which is not his style. He's a stand-up fighter. He's not a wrestler. And the Diaz brothers are known for their ground game. And then he just swarmed him. He choked him out. And I've never seen. I've never really saw the Diaz's jiu-jitsu until then because I wasn't really a fan before that fight. But that fight made me love MMA. That was the first big one that I got excited about. And I would love to see that one more time.
Now, how good of a wrestler is Conor? How good is he at wrestling?
I think he's very underrated. I think people say, "Oh, he can't wrestle. He can't wrestle." And I mean, he's not a wrestler by trade. He's a stand-up fighter. But I think he beat Chad Mendez. He beat Nate Diaz, who not a wrestler, but I mean he does jiu-jitsu, which is half of the fight is getting it to the round in the first place. So I think his wrestling is very underrated.
Okay. But so he's an extraordinary boxer. He's an extraordinary stand-up.
Yeah,
fighter.
very good.
That's what makes him special. But his ground game is pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, he's an A+ striker, but he's probably a B+ grappler.
That makes you a great fighter. Bryce, one day you come on the show. Really appreciate it,
sir.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, we're back with Barber Sports Talk. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. The man, the myth, the legend, hailing from Buffalo, New York, specifically Orchard Park. He used to be, by the way, in case none of you have ever heard me say this, student council president, is that it?
Yeah, student union.
Yes, he ran the John Carroll Student Union, but then there were reports that he was forced out. Ben denies that he was not forced out. But sources close to me said you were forced out. And there were some things Donald Trump-esque he did do in the office. I can't tell you what. And neither can Ben.
Neither can I. Donald, I passed way too many executive orders. Some of them are in the water. But yeah, so no. To counter all beliefs, I was not forced out. I left willingly and sold my soul to football instead. Okay. That was
and
Finati. Yeah, Rick Finati. From now on, though, I always like to see the John Carroll football team lose. But that's my personal opinion.
Can you give me a hot take on Anthony Maglin? How good of a quarterback is Anthony Maglin?
Better than Nathan Peterman.
That's not saying too much. Anthony, we love you, Anthony. That's not saying too much. He actually, I think they might be more comparable than you would think. Okay, New England Patriots play the Indianapolis Colts. Before the beginning of the season, everybody's like, the Patriots are done. The Patriots are done. I'm like, listen, I'm a Bills fan. For 18 years, the Patriots have ruled the AFC East. I was like, don't give me this bull about the Miami Dolphins being 3-0. I don't care. The Miami Dolphins, they're going to go into New England and get smacked. And that's exactly what happened. And now they're 3-2. Pittsburgh's having their issues. Cincinnati, nobody trusts them. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is Kansas City offense is electric, but the defense is suspect. Are the Patriots now back atop the AFC?
No.
Who's up? What?
No.
Who's up top?
I would probably say I still hold by what I said last time I was on the show, that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to shock everybody, and they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. They are a great team. The Kansas City Chiefs are outstanding. They have defensive struggles, as you said. And, of course, defenses win championships. So I don't know if they're going to make it to the big game, but we'll have to see when playoff time comes around. And I'm more concerned right now, in my head, I like 6-game trends. I found that in my time when I was working for the hockey team, looking at whole season trends and player stats doesn't really help at all. You got to look at the 6-game. If you look at the 6-game for hockey, at least for football, I would probably say it's more like a 3 or 4 game. If you look at the 3 or 4 game trends, you can begin to actually paint a better picture of where the team is power ranking wise and how they're going to fare coming into their next game. So I'm more concerned with when we get closer to the playoffs. I think I'll be more concerned with who's on top then, and I could give you a better idea of who really is the powerhouse regardless of record.
Okay, but there have been 3-4 games right now, so let's just do quickly. So even though, despite what I said, do you think it was too soon to worry about the Patriots?
Too soon to worry about them not being on top?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they will bounce back. They have bounced back. They're a good team. They're not bad. They're not bad. They still got Tom Brady. They've had their struggles in the last couple of weeks.
Bill Belichick, the mad genius.
Yeah. They've had their struggles in the last couple of weeks, but if there's any team in the NFL that can adapt as well as anyone else, or even better, it's the Patriots.
Okay.
The Patriots. If there's any team that can overcome adversity and adapt to the situation that they are in, it's the Patriots.
Now, to me, what makes it's a bad matchup because to me, Jacksonville, they're the most talented team in the NFL. I feel very comfortable saying that. I feel very comfortable saying that from Giannis and their defensive line's extraordinary. They go 7 deep on the defensive line. Their linebackers can all tackle, run, cover. Right. Their secondary, Jalen Ramsey, AJ Boye, all those guys don't need to get in. And then they have receivers. That Westbrook, I mean,
Yeah.
they have receivers, they have a running back, they have an O-line. The only thing I wonder about is Blake Bortles. And you want to know what? Blake Bortles isn't great, but he's good enough for what they want to do. So, and
Honestly.
if they have home field advantage and you're playing up in Jacksonville where it's humid, you know, you can tend to get your butt whooped. Kind of similar to how when New England, they struggle in Miami. They've always struggled in Miami because you're in as hot as humid, you know. You're playing. You're not used to it. You feel lightheaded. You're losing all this water weight because you're down in New England. And then they go up. And to me, that could be an advantage if they have to go to Jacksonville.
I mean, that's also an advantage if Jacksonville has to come up here, because especially in December, November, we know how the Northeast gets.
Yeah. So definitely
So-
don't want to be. It could be a blizzard.
Absolutely.
Now, my question about Jalen Ramsey, because I know you always talk about this about players talking smack. Jalen Ramsey, oh my God, he talks. You know what he just said about Tyreek Hill? He said he's not a number one receiver. He's just a return specialist. And then he said he don't want this smoke. Jalen Ramsey, the guy has to chill. He has to calm down with the trash talk just a little bit, don't you think?
Yeah, I've always
meeting a
said,
guy like me, I love it, but like just calm
Right.
down. Just calm down.
Yeah.
It's funny, but
Oh,
just calm
yeah.
down.
I mean, you love to watch that stuff.
Yeah.
Coming from a sport where like trash talking is not coming from ultra frisbee and track and field.
Yeah.
Both of those are very sportsmanship centered sports. Like trash talk, you don't trash talk each other. And if you do, then it's like, what? Do you play track? Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So for me, I've always been wary of it. I mean, good for him for having the confidence, and I think it's funny, but he probably's got to tone it down because, I mean, the number of times we've heard someone talk trash and then have them like put on their butt by the opposing team because the other team's frustrated, they're agitated, you know, they're going to come back with a vengeance if you give them a reason to.
And also the reason is, I don't even think you can check Tyreek Hill. Man on man. I don't know how you feel about that. I mean,
No.
Tyreek Hill runs like a 4.2 and he's like 5'9", he's shifty. Jalen Ramsey, with all due respect to his athleticism, Jalen Ramsey's like a 6'2", 220 corner. That's a bad physical matchup. He cannot check Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill would burn him.
Yeah, 100%.
Man on the man, he's playing zone. I mean, help over the top. But like Tyreek Hill is too fast and too quick for that. So
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know what Jalen is. Jalen might not even be on him half the game. I think Jalen just likes to hear himself talk, and Jalen's making a brand. I think also then he gets more sponsorships. I think that's the issue with Jalen Ramsey personally.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to go back to the Patriots for a second. Tom Brady was playing fabulous right now. Actually, even in the loss to Jacksonville, he had the highest quarterback rating against Jacksonville that a quarterback's had against that Jacksonville Jaguars defense in the last 2 years. So even though they got blown out, he still played relatively well. And he played well against the Colts, played well against the Dolphins. Tom Brady's 41 years old right now. How the hell is this man able to do it? Is it voodoo?
No, it's actually my dad has the
TB12?
the TB12 method book. Yes, and
They doing the TB12 method in Orchard Park?
I guess he's using it as inspiration. He had a
Okay.
knee injury over the summer, so he's recovering from that, and he's doing great. Honestly, he's doing great. And so Tom Brady, his whole method has been centered around anti-inflammation. Because what kills your body over time is the damage from inflammation.
That's what you told me why you drank tea after you left.
That's right. If
And quickly, tell people why do you drink tea after you lift? And
yeah, so certain teas have antioxidants and anti-inflammatories that help muscle recovery and joint recovery. So inflammation causes joint and muscle damage. It's minute, it's over time, but especially if you're getting hit frequently in that sport, I mean, everyone wants to get a hit on Tom Brady. He gets hit probably a lot, as well as just the normal wear and tear from athletic activities. Anti-inflammation, things like ice baths, things like proper nutrition. There's anti-inflammatory foods. It's about taking proper care of your body and making sure you're going through the proper steps of recovery. You know, you're stretching, and he's done a great job of putting all the best practices into practice, and that's why he's able to play as if he's 35 years old versus 41.
so you think it's because he's recovering quicker, and it's extending his career lifespan, so to speak.
It's not necessarily he's recovering quicker.
He's recovering better.
That's it. he recovers better, and he's been doing it for a longer period of
So
time.
on that Monday, when we talk about how sore players feel, he's not that sore.
Well, he might be sore,
But not as much as the other guys.
Not as much as the other guys who didn't take
Okay.
care of themselves.
Okay.
And it's able to sustain him over a longer period of time, and that's the key. Is good flexibility, good nutrition, and ice baths and rice. And if you can do that, you pretty much will be able to sustain yourself. But he's got to start at a young age. He's probably been doing it since he was 25, but it's only coming out now because you're actually seeing the results of that now. That's the other problem is a lot of people don't maintenance their bodies until it's too late. So they'll get to age 35 and realize they have some aches and pains and then start trying to do this method. But in reality, we got to start doing it when we're at our age if we want to have an extended successful career. Like players who are in their early to mid 20s should start modeling themselves after Tom Brady.
How scary are the Patriots now that they have Julian Edelman back?
Yep.
You have Gronkowski. You have Tom Brady, obviously. You have Josh Gordon on the outside. How scary is that? And by the way, people forget about Chris Hogan. I was so pissed last night, and I saw Chris Hogan catch the ball. I was like, he should be a Buffalo Bill. I was like, what the hell is going on here? I was pissed, and I was like, he's their fourth option. I was like, that is an elite fourth option. Chris freaking Hogan.
Really good.
We could use him right now, but that's a whole other story. But
Yeah.
just explain how scary that is to have that abundance of offensive weapons all back now.
Well, see, they're weapons, but I see them more as like muskets versus today AR-15s.
Okay.
They're outdated. Gronk has not had success in the last couple of years, and he's been injury prone. He used to be the best tight end and probably one of the best receivers in the NFL, period. And in the last couple of years, he's lost it. Edelman's good, but we'll see what happens when he comes back. Josh Gordon, if he stays on the field, he'll be good.
He stays off the gin and juice, in the words of Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. And the other thing with Josh Gordon is he's good. He's good. But that year he had a lot of success in Cleveland. A lot of those yards were in garbage time. They weren't actually playing their hardest. So I don't know how he's actually going to do when he has to play against number one. And clearly they've been struggling. They haven't had the success. So clearly, maybe that's not the best option. And as far as Chris Hogan goes, he's really good. And they should put him as their slot option, 110%.
But what about Edelman? What are you going to do with Edelman?
Edelman, like I said, we'll see what happens when he comes back.
Okay.
When he gets back into the swing of things. Because whenever you come back from
Yeah.
something, it's always hard to get.
You got to get back in football shape, so you got to get back in football shape.
Right. It's always hard to get back at it, and we'll see how he can contribute as the days go on. But, I mean,
You still Tom Brady orchestrating this offense.
it's Tom Brady, yeah. Tom Brady has proven time and time again that he can pretty much make anybody a star receiver by throwing to them well. Elite quarterbacks breed even more elite receivers because, if you're a receiver and you have Tom Brady or Peyton Manning throwing to you, we saw it with Julius Thomas with Peyton Manning. When he left, didn't have nearly as much success simply because when you have a quarterback that good, you don't have to worry about being a good receiver. In fact, that's one of my favorite parts about playing with rookies in the Ultimate Frisbee field is they throw like crap. They're terrible. Some of them are terrible, but it makes me a better receiver because I learned how to track down bad throws. People who play with Tom Brady, they're not going to learn how to track down bad throws because he never throws a bad throw.
Now tell me this, because the Patriots, they run a spread. They run a spread offense.
Yeah.
Shotgun, four receiver stuff. They run a spread. What the Kansas City Chiefs are doing right now, they're running a spread. It seems like the NFL, they're going more, so it's kind of like college a little innovative, going with a spread offense. We're going to throw the ball around, get mismatches, force your defense, take out their linebackers, pit in quarterback like dime sub packages. But then a team like the Buffalo Bills, what I don't understand is they won Josh Allen, the prototypical drop down pocket passer under center. Just explain, is that becoming archaic?
For me, I see it works with whatever personnel. So when I first originally, I'm going to talk about playing Madden, for example. When I would play with a team, you should run, everybody has their own scheme and everyone has what scheme they want to run. It's kind of the same thing with Ultimate Frisbee and the John Carroll team. I'll use that as an example too. Everyone has...
So for example, let's not pick Connor Bogart at corner.
Not even that.
Okay.
I'm more talking from a schematic standpoint.
Okay.
So if we're talking from schematics, if you have the personnel to run a certain type of offense, run that type of offense. If you don't have the personnel to run that type of offense, don't run that offense.
But when it comes to lots of coaches, they want to do what they came up under. They want to do what they want to do.
Correct. And that is flawed thinking. I mean, if you look at Belichick, for example, okay, he is constantly adapting, constantly changing. And yes, he has his scheme and his flow to it, but you never really know what Bill Belichick's going to do. And even in the game, like during the Super Bowl, I always say this, there was a video clip of him, and after Atlanta scored like their third touchdown, and he's just sitting there with a notepad, writing stuff down and like looking at the screen and watching the play go back again so he can break it down. He's breaking things down and making adjustments on the field, and then the Patriots come back and win that Super Bowl. Like that was absolute insanity. The thing with Bill Belichick is, even though he has his system that he runs in, he's always adjusting. He's always adjusting for his opponent, and he's always adjusting for what schemes he has. Now, spread works for the Patriots because they have a very, very solid offensive line. The Buffalo Bills, we don't have an offensive line. We just don't have the skill set that the Patriots or the
They
Chiefs
can't hold
even
up
do.
for that long. They can't hold up that long.
Correct. They can't hold up for long enough. So you put.
And we also don't have receivers with that type of quickness, like an Edelman, like a Chris Hogan,
Right.
like a Tyreek Hill.
Right. So you have to play the offense that works best for you, and you have to, and then.
Well, maybe that offense doesn't work well for them because their offense is
Yeah,
looking too good.
we're not doing well. Yeah. I mean, we are struggling.
Sometimes there's no offense for you.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to punt the ball on first down and let your defense score all your points. But that's my take on that is it may be going out of style to have that kind of offense, more like packed in or more West Coast style offense. But honestly, you got to do what's best for your team. And I think what's best for the team with the quarterback archetype we have, as well as the positional needs we have not filled on offense, I think a West Coast style of things is going to give us more success than a spread style at this point in time.
Now we're going to take a quick break, and then coming next, we're going to talk about sports talk. Me and Ben, we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL rules roughing the passer as the NFL becomes soft. I know Ben's going to have an interesting point if you see Ben's face. Coming up next after the break on Barbershop Sports Talk.
So I saw a picture from last night where there's like 3 Patriots defenders laying on top of Andrew Luck. So, and there was no roughing the passer call apparently on that. So I don't understand why that one was not clear cut when they seem to call everything that's borderline in favor of the quarterback. I understand why it's in place. I think they're taking quarterback safety to an insane extreme. Of course, everybody wants to hit the quarterback. We had Bounty Gate many, many years ago now. I mean, it seems like it was just yesterday, but it was actually a while
It
ago.
was a decade ago.
Yeah.
2009?
Yeah, it was almost a decade ago. So
Make me feel old.
I don't see a reason. I don't see a reason why they chose to implement the rule change this year. There was no need for it, and I get they're trying to be proactive, but why not extend the same protection to wide receivers? Why not extend the same protection to O-linemen? You know, the number of times.
Because, and this is what I believe it is. And I agree with what you're saying. To
Yeah.
me, the rules, especially someone that loves football, that's played football, it's disgusting what they're doing with the game. It's disgusting. I don't like it. I'm not comfortable with it. Everybody wants to complain about Colin Kaepernick, but nobody's complaining about the rules. I think people's priorities are really effed up here, so to speak. But here's what I do want to say. And I'm serious when I say this. The game is about the quarterback. It's a quarterback's league, and most NFL fans, I'm sorry to say this, they're not like you and me, right? They're not as sophisticated. They're drinking beers, and they just want to see, hey, score more points, my fantasy football team. That's the way it is. And as the NFL, at the end of the day, it is a product, it is a TV show, and you got to make that TV show as sexy as possible. And that's offense. And that's the quarterback.
I mean, that's fair, but it's backfiring on them. You know what I mean? Because I agree with you.
It's going to alienate real football fans.
Right. Well, I think it's going to alienate people in general. They're going to think the NFL, because I think the beer drinking, fantasy loving people also are the people who are yelling at the NFL for all these rule changes that are making the game of football not tough or changing the game of football. So it's going to be interesting to see if this backfires on them or not. Because I know that they're trying to improve ratings and they're trying to improve player safety and deal with that ethical issue. But at the same point in time, you got to take ownership of what the game is. And yes, there were already protections in place for quarterbacks because they knew people were at risk. Same with kickers and punters. But when your average running back gets tackled, typically they're going to have the full body weight or full force of a tackle applied to them. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. With the quarterback, it's no different. And people may say it's different because, well, they're trying to hit the quarterback. Of course they're trying to hit the quarterback. But if the quarterback goes down in a sack and the guy tackled him, like, you shouldn't be forced to gently tackle just because they have the letters QB next to their name on the roster sheet. That's just difficult for me to understand what the rationale behind that was. Because I get it, but that's just overprotecting, and it had no reason behind it. I mean, were quarterbacks constantly getting injured because the defenders were putting their full body weight on the quarterback? Probably not. People get lit up on plays all the time. And they're just basically turning quarterbacks into kickers, and that's wrong. They should be allowed to tackle the guy with the ball. Like that. And punters, yeah. They're turning quarterbacks into kickers and punters. And that's
sad.
Right. It's not even.
And to me, there's start to be resentment building up in the locker room because the quarterback's already protected. They have the red shirt in practice. You can't touch the quarterback. It's like, now you can't touch the game. People are like, dude, this dude's soft. This guy's not tough. He's not one of us. Does that start to build in a locker room? Those conversations had amongst players.
Oh yeah, almost definitely. I mean, it's creating the reputation that they are, soft. They're not able to be hit. And some quarterbacks probably are like, yeah, go ahead, hit me. Like Big Ben, I'm sure, loves to get hit because most of the time defenders will bounce right off of him.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
I think Brett Favre gained a lot of respect for that punishment he took in the Saints game.
Absolutely. You gain respect for going through it with your guys. Like, I remember Ryan Fitzpatrick, when he was on the Bills, there was a play where he actually ran upfield and set a huge block that gave the Bills, I think, a first down for C.J. Spiller, who was our running back at the time. Or it was either C.J. or Fred. I can't remember. Fred Jackson. That was a huge play, and he gained a lot of respect for getting in there and getting gritty and just powering his way through and helping his team to lead them to success. But like I said, I think my biggest problem is there's no justification for it. There's really no justification for it. Like, I understand making rule changes, like the crown of the helmet rule. 100% I agree with. Like the crown of the helmet rule, absolutely. You should not be allowed to lead with the crown of your helmet because that will cause neck damage, spinal damage, and of course concussions. I agree with that, 100%. Not being able to even tackle a quarterback, like actually tackle them with the form that they've been taught to tackle with, that's just unjustified.
No use for it, no good for it.
Right, there's no good for it. Right. I don't know what happened in their room.
How close? Because to me, and if it becomes flag football, then I wouldn't watch and I wouldn't endorse that. If it's flag football, I'm not watching it.
Right.
I guess I'm gonna have to watch more baseball and basketball.
Don't watch.
And the same way, so I'm gonna have to find some other. I'm not watching flag football. I don't know about you, but I'm not that type of guy. I'm gonna watch Ultimate Frisbee, baby. Ultimate Frisbee.
Heck yeah.
But what I do want to say is how, because I think what they're trying to do, they're going to try to make it as close to flag football as possible without making it flag football, to mislead the fans.
The problem is, I think the NFL thinks the fans are stupider than they actually are.
Oh, I agree with that.
I think the NFL thinks the fans are stupider than they actually are, and they're going to buy that. They're not going to buy it. They're not going to buy it, especially the old guard. They're going to see it for what it is. Because if you think about it, I mean, the reactionary folk who want to go basically back to rugby football, where you wear just basically a helmet and minimal pads, that's the bulk of their fan base. Like, that is the bulk, the tough guys who want to see like some violence. Like, it's the modern day equivalent of gladiatorial fights for us, for entertainment. Could you imagine if in gladiatorial fights they're like, well, you can't no longer cut the person, you can only, just tap them with the side of the sword. Yeah. People are gonna be like, this is not the sport. This is not the sport.
Everybody leave the Roman Colosseum. The Colosseum, like,
everybody's leaving. Right. And so think about all the big hit compilations. Like, I don't want to support that kind of violence in a sport, or violence among fans.
But there's a healthy amount of violence.
Correct, and there's a sport that's an outlet for people, and so the fact that they're changing it to the point where people are just gonna see right through it.
Because I remember when I was in high school football, people would always say, "This is the only time in your life where you're going to be able to legally come up and smash somebody."
Yep.
And I guess now you're legally not allowed to even do that anymore.
Well, no. Well, but if you're a defensive player or a wide receiver, or actually not even a wide receiver anymore either.
No.
If you're a running back, just wreck them. You
Yeah.
can wreck them. Like if you remember, the one thing that propelled, pun intended in this case, Jadeveon Clowney's career was the hit. That hit he laid on, I think it was, I can't remember what school it was, but he laid the huge hit on the running back, popped the guy's helmet off. That's how hard he hit him. And it propelled his career to become, he's a stud now. He's a stud D-end in the NFL, and he would not have gotten that reputation if it wasn't for that hit. And hard legal hitting is okay. That is the nature of the sport. Illegal hitting or unnecessary roughness is a different story. Plays that cause injury, different story. You want to protect the player's safety. But at the same point in time, I don't see how not allowing to tackle quarterbacks actually protects players.
Now these NFL rules, Tom Brady threw 500 touchdown passes, just got to that mark. Drew Brees will get to that mark this Sunday. Just talk about those two guys' careers in general. And do you think part of the reason they've been able to throw 500 touchdown passes is because of the new rules, which kind of takes away the speciality of it?
I think the game has evolved over time. So what we're seeing of Breeze and Brady will be the norm in a couple of years. As weird as that sounds to say, like maybe 10 years down the line, we're becoming a very passing-heavy league, which is a very well-known trend. We moved from rushing the ball and less skilled passers. Like it was impressive when a passer could do stuff like Joe Montana and Jim Kelly could, because at the time there were very few passers who could do what they could do, and there was very few. The K-gun offense for the Buffalo Bills during the 90s was one of the first offenses to really utilize quick
Jim
passing.
Kelly, Andre Reed.
Yep. It was one of the very first truly quick
Right
passing.
on the bench.
Coming off the bench and leading us to a victory.
Yeah.
One of the greatest comebacks in history. But I think a lot of that has to do with how schemes have changed. So it's not abnormal for a quarterback to throw many more passes and complete many more of those passes now, especially because college is a very passing run offense. It's a very high-powered quarterback receiver run offense. The other part of that is, if we're comparing the two gentlemen's careers, Drew Brees has been very silent about his success. You don't really hear Drew Brees much. He's a very underrated quarterback because he hasn't made it successfully to too many big games. Tom Brady, everyone knows, is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time because he's also had championship-level success. He's made it to the big game, and he's performed in the big game. Of the last 10 years, there have only been 3 AFC quarterbacks that have represented the AFC in the Super Bowl, which are Brady, Roethlisberger, and Flacco. And so, knowing that, the NFC might be a harder ball game to win, to get to that big game. But Drew Brees and Tom Brady are both elite level quarterbacks. They're both future Hall of Famers. But I just think Drew Brees is underrated because people haven't seen the success on the championship side. And part of that is his team. Part of that is his team, and his coach is multiple coaches.
And the last question I want to ask you, Ben, is this. Earl Thomas has that horrific injury, gives the Seattle Seahawks the middle finger as he's leaving. And it became a very uncomfortable situation, a really scary situation, because, and I get, you sign your contract, but there is a reason why players hold out, because while it is you sign your contract, you should honor that. If you're not producing, teams will cut you. So it does go both ways, right? It is a little give or take, and I think we have to all realize that. But you see that, and he said he wasn't practicing. He said he was basically just showing up for the game, and he was still their best player. But then he breaks his leg and he gives them the middle finger because he knows he's never going to see that money again. What do you think that dichotomy needs to be between NFL players and management with money? And because that was a really uncomfortable situation, seeing him give the middle finger after he's being carted off. That was a really uncomfortable situation. So where do you think that dichotomy is? And where do you think we need to draw the line as fans, as many people, just people in general that love and watch the game of football?
It's, he's human. We all are human. We make mistakes.
Hey, because I know I was losing $30 million. I'd be pissed too.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be livid. Yeah, and the other thing is, I mean, he knows that they're not even going to work with him on it because of his attitude this season, and that's the other part of it is he's just like, you know what, I've dug myself such a hole right now, and might as well keep digging. Maybe I'll dig my way out somehow, but he's good. He's a good player.
Broken leg for a 30-year-old safety does not look good though.
No, he's a good player. I don't think he's ever going to get back to the level that he was at, unfortunately. And he was a beast. He was really, really good.
Maybe the argument the best player on that Legion of Boom secondary. You could easily make that argument.
You could make that argument. I would argue back Richard Sherman.
I might argue Cam Chancellor.
Yeah,
they were all good. They were
all so good.
I was actually thinking about that yesterday. I was like, between those three, it's actually hard to differentiate because I can make an argument. They all do. Each of what they did was just so special.
Right. Everyone had their own kind of thing that they did,
Yeah.
and the way they contributed to the defense. That without that piece, I mean, they had 5 stud defensive backs. Now, we're not anywhere near that right now, and I think the Seattle Seahawks, with Thomas, were going into damage control, knowing that they didn't have as many defensive players that were solid anymore, and wanted to keep him no matter what. I would have just ditched him, because at this point, I mean, the whole unit's gone. He's great, but you should be focusing. You should rebuild. And
it wasn't good PR for him to give the middle finger to the team. It's not good PR.
No, it's not good PR. It's not good for his brand. There will be people who won't care, and he'll get signed somewhere when he heals up. And I feel bad for him because injuries suck, and the current injury policy is not great.
And Le'Veon Bell, so that's why he's holding out.
Right, because if he gets injured, he's not paid. Right. And so the other part of this is it goes to a bigger issue, which is the dichotomy.
Well, I think they're guaranteed contracts with players.
Right. Was the dichotomy between players as people and players as assets. And whether you like it or not, your job is essentially to perform for the team to make the team money. That is the job as an NFL player. And you sign up for that. That's what you sign up for. You get a lot of money for it. You get a lot of compensation basically for selling your rights away. You get a lot of compensation.
You do.
But
that's a good point.
You get a lot. I mean, if I walked up to my boss and said, "No, I'm not coming to work until you pay me more," I'm fired. Right? They're getting paid a lot of money.
He said it'd be like you're in sales, right?
Right.
You don't go to any of the meetings. You just go for when you have your big conference. That's what he was doing. He said, "I'm not practicing. I'm not practicing." He wasn't practicing. He said, "I'm just showing up for the game day because I don't want to get hurt." You can't do that in everyday life. It's like you can't do a teacher. Hey, I'm not showing up for class. I'm just showing up for the test.
Right. Some teachers that works with. Some teachers that does actually work with. But it's...
You better have your ish together if you're doing that.
Right. But also NFL teams do need to address the fact that players are viewed as assets. And that's problematic. You can't... there is a dichotomy there where they are making money for your team, yes. So in a way that they are an asset. But think of them more as a worker, a human resource, rather than someone you can exploit just for money. They're not just assets, they are people, and they are working for your team. And so the NFL, I don't know what they have to do. I don't know what the NFLPA has to do, but something's got to be done where players can be taken care of. And that's my biggest thing.
Ben, thank you for our show. Always appreciate it. Before we let you go, haven't done this since you've been on the show. Give us a pun.
Oh, this is a good one. All right, I got to think of a good one now. You know what a dog plays his music from? A subwoofer.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Ben Goodman, everybody. Love always having you on, Ben.
Good to see ya.